Wingspan was a game that was released to much deserved acclaim a few years ago. We've played a lot of it, and we want to share our thoughts on this game with you today here on Legendary Tactics. So I'm here with my buddy Cax, fellow member of Legendary Tactics, and I can tell you that this guy has played more Wingspan than probably most, maybe more than the designer himself. I don't know.
I have played many games. I've played a lot of games, that's for sure.
Yeah,
it's the kind of game though you just want to keep going back to the well with this game though. You play a game and you're like, I want to play another one. So
yeah,
it's great.
Absolutely. Can you guess how many games have you played of this since this came out late last year?
I would probably say 300, 400.
Yeah, something insane.
It's a lot. It's a lot. Now,
yes.
To be fair, I do play. I do have the tabletop version, but I play a lot of the digital Steam app, which is a really elegant app as well.
Yeah. So I've played some Wingspan, but nowhere near that many games. So let me just start out with a simple question. Like what do you feel is the best, strongest part of Wingspan? When it, and just in terms of other players that, might be looking at buying this game, what's its strongest aspect?
Yeah, there's a lot of really neat parts to this game. I have friends that got the game because they are bird enthusiasts. And so there's a whole teaching mechanic to this game if you just like birds. There's really elegant pieces in the game. I think they put together this really, really neat bird feeder system for rolling dice. Just the quality of the game is great. The gameplay itself is really, really intriguing as well. There's endless possibilities when you play a game, and I think that really adds to the sort of the allure of the game. Yeah,
I know that at first it does feel a little bit overwhelming. What do you feel about the learning curve of this game? Do you feel how long before you began to really kind of get it?
Well, I can actually vividly recall the first game with you and Flash, and I was like, what is going on here? I do not get this.
Yeah.
And it was like, and you guys were like, don't worry, it's fine. And before I knew it, it was you were just kind of getting you just kind of get into the ebb and the flow of the game, and there's just like a natural progression that to play a bird into certain habitats. After you have one there, it requires eggs. The birds need food, so you have to get food, you have to get eggs, and you have to get birds to actually play. So there's sort of this revolving door that you have to sort of meander through in the game.
Yeah.
I find it really neat too that each bird brings its own special effects with it, so that you can start. And this is where the game gets really intriguing, I think, is you can start stacking in the different habitats abilities of the birds to sort of complement and continue your drive to number one. So that's kind of a neat twist they put on too.
Yeah, that's great. Because I know I found, for me, it didn't take that long for me to pick up. But do you feel like for casual gamers, this is too heavy, or is it the right amount, do you think?
Oh, no, I think it's great. My brother, actually, I lent my hard copy to him, and he's already sat down a couple times with some just local friends, and they fired it up and had a great time with it. So, and he really enjoys it as well. So I'm worried I'm not going to get my copy back for a bit. So
yes.
luckily I have the Steam app to keep me company.
yes, exactly. So what other observations can you say, like over that many games, what observations have you, is there maybe even something that you find frustrating about the game overall?
Well, the one thing I do notice that is a really, really interesting mechanic that they've added in is it's the pink card of different. Some birds are colored in pink, and those abilities actually are latent abilities that if somebody else in the game does a certain action, you get rewarded. So I think that's a really, really cool mechanic, and it's just another strategy potential you could take where I've actually tried games where I've loaded up on just the pink cards and basically tried to win by passive income.
Oh, really?
And
Wow.
yeah, and now it's not going to get you into the the 120, 130 range per se, but
Yeah.
it's going to do you very well. It's great to start a hand and you've already gained 3 or 4 points and you haven't even made your play yet. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's kind of a neat twist they put on it. The other thing I really like that they've done is they've added in the end of game bonus cards.
Yep.
And so what you do there is you just basically can collect these birds of varying point value, and at the end of the game they have a specific requirement that if you can meet that or meet it to a certain level, you will get
Yep.
bonus points for that as well. So it's I like that aspect of it as well. And then of course there's
Yeah.
birds that you can get that will give you just resources that you need, the food, or birds that'll give you more eggs, or they've also introduced a card tuck mechanic where you can tuck one of the cards in your hand behind a bird for points as well.
Yes. And that was one that I found actually a bit confusing actually when I first saw it, because it was I was thinking, like, what do you mean tuck the card? What does that actually mean?
Yeah, and it's
yeah.
One thing I think they've done an exceptional job on is the balancing of the birds.
Really?
Because every bird comes with its own nest capacity where you can hold a certain amount of eggs. And I've noticed, and I've actually poured over in multiple birds where it's the same bird, maybe worth one extra resource, but it will have that extra resource bird has one extra egg capacity on it. So it gives you, so you pay for the capacity by one extra resource, or you can pay a little less resource but get a little less capacity. So it's just, there's literally like countless possibilities to this game, which allows you to play 200, 300, 400 games of it.
Yeah. Now you have, I think it's been said that there are certain birds like the killdeer, and like what's the other one?
Well, the Chihuahuan raven is very powerful.
Yeah, the raven. That they are a bit overpowered. That if you happen to grab that in the opening hand, that you're gonna have a real leg up.
100%.
Do you find that? Yeah.
That is 100%.
So there's
true.
a luck element to it. That.
Yeah, those birds potentially, I could see them eventually maybe getting nerfed, or even taken out, or just rejigged a little bit. They're pretty overpowered, especially early game. If you can because you can instantly start getting 2 cards in a hand for 1 egg, and I mean there is always the trade-off as well, or two, with the killdeer it's two cards in a hand. Or with the raven it's 2 resources in a hand for 1 egg. So you can.
Yes.
But the problem is, out of 120 some odd cards, your likelihood of getting those ones and there's only two of them that do that exact thing. Very 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 low odds. So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and is there anything that you feel like that you dislike about the game? Anything after that many plays you're thinking, man, like this is really annoying or whatever, the more games
one
you
thing,
play.
that's a great question. One thing I've noticed that can get very frustrating, and it's happened to me on multiple games, is you get your food engine running. So in one particular, because there's the 3 different areas you can play into: forest, or the grassland, or the wetland, and each sort of offers a specific bonus. If you've got an engine running up, say in the grassland, which when you click on the grassland it would give you eggs, and then say your other birds in that grassland are all resource birds, you're still short on getting new cards, new birds. So you have to go into the wetland and try and get a card. But if you've got no birds in there, no infrastructure in there, you're drawing one at a time, and it just bogs your whole game down, your whole engine down. So I guess the biggest frustration is trying to get your engine as efficient as possible, as quickly as possible. Yeah. And when it happens, it's just like, it's awesome. Yeah. But it just happens so rarely that it's I think it's the blessing and the curse of Wingspan.
Yeah. No, I was going to say, is that the attraction of it, is trying to get your your engine up and running, and having everything fit together, getting the right bird at the right time.
Exactly.
That kind
exactly.
Of thing.
Yes. 100%. But the thing is, I guess the frustration kicks in is when you've got everything perfect except for, either cards or resources or eggs. And any one of those three is going to stifle your game. So that's the real crux of the game, I think, right there, is just being able to realize you need resources, you need cards, and you need eggs efficiently. And you need them immediately. And so the game.
But anything in the game's mechanics that you find don't work, or do you find it's
no?
Really
I think it's actually. I think
well?
it's been brilliantly thought out. To be honest, really well thought out. I think maybe one thing it could do is, I think if there's one area, it's the card draw that is a little lacking. The killdeer is one bird you can play into a different habitat. Most of the birds, though, will be actually birds that you can play only into the wetland, which is where you can draw extra cards. So there are some birds that allow you to trade bird cards. So you can tuck a bird and then draw a new bird into different habitats. But for the most part, you are looking at having to go into the wetland, and maybe that was actually very intentional. But I find with all the other, you can get eggs in any habitat, you can get resources in any habitat. It's just a little tougher. I find the cards are a little tougher to get.
Now with my much fewer plays, I did feel that there at least there could be a strong element of luck in terms of winning the game, in terms of having the birds come up at the right time. Your opening hand, obviously, very important.
Oh yeah, that's critical. It's critical.
Yeah, but just in terms of having the right birds come up in the wetland at the right times, that kind of thing. Like, do you feel like luck plays too much of a role, or do you think it's the right amount?
You know what? It might play just a little bit too much, especially as you mentioned in the opening 5 birds you can draw from, and your resources. If you get stuck with a whole bunch of very expensive birds and nothing that's going to give you no birds that will give you resources or eggs or cards. And they're basically end of game bonus birds, or birds that can those kinds of things. You can get pretty hamstrung, or if they cost 3 resources each, that's a lot of resources to devote early game. So
so do you think that could be fixed with like a mulligan rule?
That's a really neat house rule. That's a really neat house rule. The other option you always have, though, is to draw, instead of any birds, you can draw up the 5 resources. Now, you're only allowed 1 each. So I mean, you could look at the birds in the coming up in the card row as well. When the game starts, you'll see the 3 that are there, and you have the option to maybe play for those. But that's not a guarantee. You never know what your opponents are going to do.
Well, then you're at the mercy of the cards in the wetland, and and you have no idea what those are. So
or then there's
flying blind.
Well, you do get to see 3 of them, the 3 that are going to be showing.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
But besides that, you don't. You're other than that, you're
flying
stuck,
a bit
right?
Blind.
Very much so.
So that's good.
But I do love the game. I think it's just really, really, really well put together, and I thoroughly enjoy it.
Now, is there a type of because this game in the hard copy format is fairly it's not cheap, and
no.
Do you feel like the value is there, and what kind of gamer do you think would love this the best?
Great question. So as far as the value being there, I can't think of a game since probably Android Netrunner that I've played more games of.
Yes, that's probably true.
And it's starting to rival Android, but not quite there yet. But
we got a ways to go.
A few hundred more probably.
That for 8-9 years now.
That's
so.
right. Yeah.
It's got a lot of plays.
But the value is definitely there. The other beautiful thing about it is that even if you're a solo player, it's got the Automa feature on it, so you can actually play with the Automa solo game. So that's actually a really just a little aside on Stonemaier. I love that they do that with all of their games.
Yes, I think that's include that. Solo gaming is becoming it's becoming almost mandatory for games to have a solo option.
Kind of variant in there, right?
Something like that. Yeah. And the app itself, would just touch on that because this reviews more about the game itself. But the app is, as I've been showing people here throughout this review is very beautifully done.
Oh man, and
it really brings the game to life.
100%. They went over and above, actually, in my estimation. It's very well scripted. It's the music for it is just really, really soothing, and what can be kind of sometimes a bit of a stressful when you're kind of poring over your turn. You have this nice, elegant music in the background. It's kind of juxtaposed sometimes, but or you're praying that no one takes the bird you're looking at in the card row.
I love as well how the birds are animated and how you get their whatever sounds they make, you get that when you click on them.
That's right.
There's always a little interesting tips and hints,
factoids
or
about
not
them.
Tips and hints, sorry, I mean like
like fun
tidbits of
facts.
information, fun facts, and that's always interesting, so it's somewhat educational. And there's you can play obviously solo, or play with other players online. Just something I wanted to touch on that some people might not know is the weekly challenges.
Right. Yes.
Maybe you could just touch on that for a minute.
Yeah. So you basically play heads
works.
up. Yeah, you play heads up against the Automa, and basically on the Steam app, it's a running tally of who's got the highest score in the current week. And I believe you just kind of see who, and then there's going to be one champion crowned every week. So whoever can maintain the highest score.
And those are more treated as more like a puzzle, are they not?
100%. So the game spells it out. It's actually completely scripted, down to every roll of die from the basically the whole order of the resources are all completely preset. The card deck is preset. There's nothing left to chance, and the Automa plays as the Automa plays. So there's no surprises. If you take the time to go through and see what cards are in the deck, you'll know that for the entire week.
Yeah, that's great. So so there's always more to explore with this game, with this app. So that's great.
Yeah, and I just think that's such another clever idea by the designers there to put the video game designers anyway, to put that in, because it's
that's a fair commitment. They've got to design. It's like doing the Saturday crossword for the New York Times.
That's right.
They commit to every week.
Once a week we put that up. Yeah.
So so final thoughts? Any other kind of things you'd like to add, or?
Oh, it's just a really, really great game. I've thoroughly enjoyed the ones I've played, and I'm currently working on a 150 challenge, which is actually burning the brain a little. But I've seen that in the last couple of weeks, people on the challenge with the weekly challenge have actually hit 150 or 151.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
So I know I know it's possible. It is possible. I'll get there. Great. I'll get there.
Yeah. So anyway, for those of you who stuck with us through this review, we hope you got some value out of it, and that it may help you to guide your purchase. We give our seal of approval on this game, whether it be
thumbs up.
Digital version or the real life analog version, and we're really happy to have discovered this game. Not that it was a big secret. It was a really, really great purchase for me. It was great. Yeah, great. So please give your thoughts in the comments below, and while you're there, please please subscribe, and join our channel. I'm Nato.
I'm Cax.
And this is
Legendary Tactics.